Hello, friends, and welcome back to Case Closed Solved and Unsolved Mysteries. I'm your host, bringing you another heart wrenching journey into the world of true crime. Today, we're diving into a case that shook the nation and sparked countless conspiracy theories. A case that will leave you questioning everything you think you know about what happened during one tragic night at a Chicago hotel. What would you do if your 19-year-old daughter went to a party and never came home? What if she disappeared for over 21 hours, only to be found in the most unimaginable place? This is the story of a young woman whose death became one of the most controversial cases in recent memory, dividing families, communities, and the internet itself. Whether you're a longtime listener or joining us for the first time, I'm so glad you're here with me today. This case requires us to approach it with sensitivity and care, remembering that behind all the theories and speculation is a family who lost their beloved daughter. Grab your favorite beverage, get comfortable, and let's explore this mystery together with the respect and compassion it deserves. Before we dive deep into today's story, let me paint the picture for you. We're traveling to Rosemont, Illinois, in September 2017, where a vibrant 19-year-old woman named Kanika Jenkins was about to attend what should have been just another night out with friends. This case caught my attention not just because of the tragic circumstances, but because of how it highlighted the power of social media in modern investigations, both for good and for harm. What makes this story particularly compelling is how it exposed deeper questions about police response times, racial disparities in missing persons cases, and how quickly misinformation can spread in our digital age. Kanika was described by those who knew her as a loving daughter, sister, and friend. She lived on Chicago's West Side with her mother, Teresa Martin, and was known for her infectious smile and caring personality. She had dreams and aspirations like any young person her age, and her family adored her deeply. Now, let's start from the beginning and walk through exactly what happened on that fateful night, because understanding every detail is crucial to comprehending this heartbreaking case. It was Friday evening, September 8th, 2017, when Kanika's story began. At 11:30 p.m., she left her family home on Chicago's West Side, borrowing her mother's car to meet up with friends. The original plan was simple. They were going to see a movie. But like so many nights out with friends, plans change spontaneously. Instead of the movies, the group decided to attend a birthday party at the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel in nearby Rosemont. Before heading to the hotel, they made a stop to pick up some party supplies, a Bluetooth speaker, a bottle of Hennessy cognac, energy drinks, and marijuana. It seemed like it would be just another typical night of young people celebrating together. What happened next would change everything for Kanika family forever. At 1:13 a.m. on Saturday, September 9th, surveillance cameras captured Kanika entering the hotel with three female friends. The party was taking place in room 926, and by all accounts, it was a lively gathering of young people enjoying themselves. But those who were paying attention noticed something concerning about Kanika almost immediately. An acquaintance at the party later told investigators that when Kanika hugged him, she was swaying back and forth noticeably. Multiple witnesses reported seeing her drink cognac throughout the evening, though no one saw her use marijuana or any other substances. Another witness would later describe that Kanika wasn't acting like her usual self. She would dance a little, but then appeared sad and would sit down by herself. At 1:30 a.m., Kanika had her final conversation with her family. She spoke with her sister over the phone. This would be the last time her family would hear her voice. Around 1:36 a.m., a Facebook Live video captured glimpses of the party in room 926. And if you look closely, you could see Kanika reflection in another partygoer's sunglasses. Little did anyone know that time was running out. At 2:17 a.m., Kanika posted what would be her final social media message, a Snapchat video taken from a hotel bathroom. The hours were ticking by, and Kanika's condition seemed to be deteriorating as the night wore on. Around 3 a.m., as friends began preparing to leave the party, Kanika realized she was missing her phone and car keys. This is where the story takes a heartbreaking turn. While her friends went back to room 926 to retrieve her belongings, Kanika waited alone in the hallway by a ninth-floor elevator. When they returned just 10 to 15 minutes later, Kenika was gone. Her friends called out for her, searched the immediate area, but she had simply vanished. At 4 a.m., nearly an hour after discovering she was missing, they made the call that would begin every parent's worst nightmare. They called Kenika's mother, Teresa Martin, to tell her they couldn't find her daughter. Before we continue with how this devastating night unfolded, I want to take a moment to thank you for listening. Your support means everything to Case Closed, and I love reading your thoughtful comments and theories on each episode. This case, in particular, reminds us why we must approach these stories with both curiosity and compassion. When Teresa Martin received that 4 a.m. phone call, her world stopped. Her friends had returned to her home at 5 a.m. with her car, but without her daughter. Teresa immediately drove to the Crown Plaza Hotel, arriving around 5:30 a.m., desperate to find Kenika. But what happened next would become a source of ongoing controversy and pain for the family. When Teresa approached hotel management for help accessing security footage, she was told they couldn't provide it until someone officially reported Kenika missing to police. So at 7:14 a.m., Teresa called the Rosemont Public Safety Department herself. The response she received was devastating. The dispatcher told her it would be prudent to wait a few more hours before filing a missing persons report, suggesting that Kenika might simply turn up on her own. The breakthrough came when investigators discovered surveillance footage that would piece together Kenika's final moments. But the timeline of when this footage was reviewed and acted upon would become a point of intense scrutiny. It wasn't until 12:46 p.m., more than 8 hours after Teresa's initial call, that Kenika's older sister, Leonore Harris, was finally able to file an official missing persons report at the police station. Only then was Kenika officially entered into the law enforcement database for missing persons. What puzzled both family members and later investigators was the delay in response. Teresa and Leonore returned to the hotel around 6 p.m., and in their desperation, they began knocking on guest doors from the top floor to the bottom, searching for any sign of Kenika. Their actions were so persistent that a hotel employee actually called 911 to complain about the disturbance. Meanwhile, the most crucial piece of evidence was sitting in the hotel's security system, waiting to be discovered. The evidence was telling a different story than anyone had imagined. Between 3:25 and 3:32 a.m. on September 9th, while her friends were retrieving her belongings from the hotel room, surveillance cameras had captured Kenika's tragic final moments. The footage showed her staggering alone through the hotel corridors, bumping into walls and railings, clearly disoriented and struggling to maintain her balance. At 3:32 a.m., the final piece of surveillance footage captured Kenika entering an empty kitchen area on the hotel's lower level. She disappeared around a corner, moving toward what investigators would later discover was a walk-in freezer. No camera directly captured her entering the freezer itself, but this would be the last time anyone would see Kenika Jenkins alive. Friends and family described a completely different picture of the young woman they knew and loved. This wasn't the Kenika they remembered. She was always careful, always responsible. The surveillance footage showed someone who appeared to be severely impaired, moving through the hotel in a way that suggested she was not in control of her actions. What had happened to cause such a dramatic change in her condition? This question would haunt investigators and fuel countless theories in the months and years to come. At 12:25 a.m. on Sunday, September 10th, nearly 21 hours after Kenika had last been seen alive, a hotel employee made a discovery that would shock everyone involved in the search. Kenika's body was found inside the hotel's walk-in freezer. She was discovered lying face down on her side, with one shoe off, in what was described as an unused kitchen area. The freezer was part of a walk-in cooler system, located in a section of the hotel that was reportedly being leased to a restaurant. The temperature inside the freezer was found to be 34 degrees Fahrenheit when she was discovered. At 12:48 a.m., Kenika was officially pronounced dead at the scene. The investigation that followed was extensive and thorough. Rosemont police conducted 44 interviews and generated 135 separate reports. They identified 30 individuals who were verified as being in the hotel room during the party, with 36 total people believed to have been present that evening. The investigation included examining 5 photo lineups, forensically analyzing for cell phones, including Kinika, and reviewing footage from 47 different hotel security cameras covering the entire weekend. Now, this is where things get really complex because there were several theories about what really happened, and I want to walk you through each one with the care and attention this case deserves. The official investigation revealed some troubling details about the party itself. The hotel room had been paid for with a fraudulent credit card that was linked to a Chicago area gang. Police identified the 2 individuals responsible for this credit card fraud, though they had not been located at the time of the final report. On October 6, 2017, the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office released their findings. The autopsy revealed that Kinika's death was ruled accidental, caused by hypothermia from exposure to the cold environment of the freezer. But the contributing factors were equally important to understand. Kinika's blood alcohol level was found to be 0.112%, well above the legal driving limit. More puzzling was the discovery of topiramate in her system, a medication used to treat epilepsy and migraines. Kinika had never been prescribed this medication, and its source remains unknown to this day. The medical examiner noted that alcohol and topiramate are synergistic, meaning their combined effects can be enhanced when taken together. This combination can cause dizziness, impaired memory, poor coordination, confusion, and severely impaired judgment. When combined with cold exposure, these substances can accelerate the onset of hypothermia. Importantly, the autopsy found no illegal drugs, no date rape drugs, and no signs of physical or sexual assault. There was no evidence of trauma other than a small cut on her foot and some minor abrasions that were consistent with her movements through the hotel. But despite these official findings, questions remained that would fuel speculation for years to come. How did Kinika obtain the topiramate? Why wasn't she found sooner during the initial searches? How was she able to access an area that was supposedly secured? The resolution of the official investigation came on October 20th, 2017, when Rosemont Police Chief Donald E. Stevens III officially closed the case, stating there was no evidence of foul play. But for Kinika family and many in the community, justice felt incomplete, and questions remained about whether everything possible had been done to save their beloved daughter and sister. What happened next was unprecedented in the world of true crime. Kinika's case became a social media phenomenon, generating millions of views, countless conspiracy theories, and a level of online speculation that would both help and harm the search for truth. The surveillance footage, when it was finally released to the public, went viral almost immediately. People analyzed every frame, every movement, looking for clues that might explain what happened during those final moments. But along with genuine concern and desire for justice came a flood of misinformation and conspiracy theories that would cause additional pain for Kinika's grieving family. Some of the most prevalent theories included claims about organ harvesting rings, suggestions that Kinika had been murdered for $200, and allegations of gang involvement beyond the fraudulent credit card. Social media posts claimed there were body doubles in the surveillance footage, that hotel staff were involved in a cover-up, and that the investigation had been deliberately botched. Police thoroughly investigated each of these theories. They found that the $200 reference that appeared in some social media posts actually related to Kinika's concern about a potential parking fine, not any payment for her death. Anonymous tips alleging gang involvement beyond the credit card fraud were investigated and found to be unsubstantiated. Tragically, some individuals who were incorrectly named in these conspiracy theories received death threats and harassment. Some were forced to relocate due to the online harassment, adding innocent victims to an already tragic situation. The social media attention did serve some positive purposes. It kept Kinika's story in the public eye and highlighted important questions about police response times and the handling of missing persons cases, particularly for young Black women. But it also demonstrated how quickly misinformation can spread and cause additional harm during an already devastating time. In 2018, Kinika's mother, Teresa Martin, made the difficult decision to file a wrongful death lawsuit, initially seeking $50 million in damages. The lawsuit targeted the Crowne Plaza Chicago O'Hare Hotel, its parent company, the hotel's security contractor Capital Security, and a restaurant that was leasing the freezer area. The lawsuit alleged multiple forms of negligence: failure to properly secure the freezer area, inadequate searches when Kenneka was first reported missing, insufficient monitoring of security cameras, and failure to intervene when hotel staff should have observed Kenneka in her disoriented state. For years, the case worked its way through the legal system while Teresa fought tirelessly for accountability and justice for her daughter. The emotional toll on the family was immeasurable. Not only were they grieving the loss of Kenneka, but they were also battling in court while dealing with ongoing conspiracy theories and public speculation. In December 2023, nearly 6.5 years after Kenneka's death, the lawsuit was finally settled. The settlement totaled $10 million, with Teresa Martin receiving $3.7 million, two other family members receiving $1.2 million and $1.5 million respectively, $3.5 million allocated to attorney fees and costs, and $6,000 for funeral expenses. The settlement was reached just as the case was set to go to trial, bringing some measure of closure to a family that had fought so long for answers and accountability. While no amount of money could ever replace Kenneka or ease the pain of her loss, the settlement acknowledged that there were failures in how the situation was handled that tragic night. As we wrap up today's episode, I find myself thinking about Teresa Martin, a mother who lost her daughter in the most heartbreaking way and then had to fight for years just to get answers and some measure of justice. This case reminds us that behind every true crime story is a family whose lives have been forever changed, whose love for their lost family member never dies. Kenneka Jenkins was just 19 years old when her life ended in that hotel freezer. She had dreams, hopes, and people who loved her dearly. While the official investigation concluded that her death was a tragic accident, the questions raised by this case about police response times, hotel security, and how missing persons cases are handled, particularly for young Black women, remain important conversations for our society. What do you think happened that night? Do you believe the official findings? Or do you think there are still unanswered questions that deserve further investigation? I'd love to hear your thoughtful theories in the comments below, always remembering to approach this case with the respect and sensitivity that Kenneka memory deserves. Thank you so much for joining me today on Case Closed. Your engagement and support make this podcast possible, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you who takes this journey with me, especially on difficult cases like this one that require us to balance our curiosity with compassion for those affected. Next week, we'll be exploring another case that has captured the attention of true crime followers everywhere. It's a disappearance that involves mysterious circumstances and a family's never-ending search for answers, and I think you'll find it both compelling and deeply moving. Until then, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, every mystery has a story worth telling, and every victim deserves to be remembered with dignity and love. This has been Case Closed. Solved and unsolved mysteries. Take care, friends.